Ronnie Hillman, C.J. Anderson look like absolute total busts this year as running back. And what did the Browns do? They gave up 111 yards to Ronnie Hillman. I know. The Browns' defense is the cure-all for struggling running backs. Hey, take our advice, folks. We say it a bit in jest, but we're serious. If you want to get some chunk gains in your fantasy league or one of the daily leagues, pick up an opposition running back that is facing the Browns. Just look on the wire, pick him up. Because Ronnie Hillman had 111 yards, averaged 5.6 yards per carry, a long of 26. And Matt, when you look at what he's been able to do, C.J. Anderson had the big chunk play in overtime. But here, look at this. For this year, Ronnie Hillman has rushing yard gains of 41, 34, 13, had 103 against Minnesota, then came back with 21 yards and then 111 against the Browns. Like, this is not an elite level, a show-stopping running back. Yet, they were able to just go through that Swiss cheese front line and make big chunk gains.
It's disheartening to consistently watch no-name backs come into town or to play against the Browns in their home stadium and walk out the fantasy surprise of the week.
Oh, sure.
It's becoming the same tune every single week, and it really boggles the mind that you can continue to let it happen. And, this whole we're not an excuse team, all I keep hearing in Berea is excuses. Mm-hmm. Excuse after excuse. Well, we're not healthy. Well, guys just aren't doing their assignments. If a guy doesn't do his assignments over the first 6 weeks of the season, why have you not pulled him aside and said, you're going to sit until you learn what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, there's only so much that can be put on.
26 defensive players on that roster and only 11 spots to play them. You might want to figure something the heck out.
Matt, guess who the Browns play next? The St. Louis Rams, who in themselves do not strike fear in the hearts of man. But we talk about the running game. Todd Gurley. What is a good running back?
After the Patrick.
What is a good running back going to do against this Browns defense? Oh, my gosh. Todd Gurley might go for 200. He might go for 200 yards next week. Like this is scary. We're going to get more into that on Friday's show, but I was just looking ahead on the schedule. Yikes. And then Arizona after that. They got Chris Johnson who can go. The Bengals, Hill and
they got
Bernard.
A two-headed monster.
Oh.
And remember that they're still pissed off that we embarrassed them on their home turf.
Yeah.
And I know they returned the favor in December, but that was in front of a national television audience that the Browns beat them. And believe me when I tell you, they have a second shot at a national television audience against the Browns. That you could pretty much flip the results of how that game is going to turn out, the motivation that Cincinnati has coming into that game.
Yeah, that's November 5th, Thursday Night Football, and then they play the other national game, Monday Night Football, on November 30th against the Baltimore Ravens. So this really, Matt, the Browns at 2-4. We're looking at the season coming up here against St. Louis, and the St. Louis defense is real good, but that is a beatable team. That is a team that Jeff Fisher has consistently been 500 on. He's Mr. 8-8, and for some, he's the most highly touted, overrated coach, I think, maybe in the history of the NFL. The guy who consistently, Mr. 500, goes 8-8. So the St. Louis Rams are always beatable. The question is, can the Browns actually do that on the road? Now, you might be dealing with, I don't know what the crowds have been like in St. Louis, but with all the talk of moving, they might be running into a lackluster fan base there. And if so, maybe the home field advantage won't be that great. I'm not sure on how the crowds are, though.
I don't think that factors into much of anything in terms of maybe just noise to distract the Browns' offense, but I don't think that the Rams are playing any harder or any less hard for the fans that do show up.
Yeah.
I think they're a very professional group, and they're going to go out and they're going to try to do what they can to win a ball game. And that defense can still get after the passer too. So it'll be we'll get in more in depth in Friday's show, like you said. But that is going to be that isn't an easy game for this team, and they have proven that even easy games they lose. So show up, play the game, and we'll see what happens.
Browns are the easy team. That's the problem. They are the easy team. And isn't from the old Legion of Doom Road Warriors team the son of Animal, a linebacker on the...
James Laurinaitis
yes.
from the Ohio State University.
Oh, boy.
One of my favorite Buckeyes of all time, and not just because his dad is Road Warrior Animal, also one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, but because that dude is a tackle machine. He may not get sacks, he may not make all the sexy plays, but that dude gets you down on the ground quickly.
We might have to have the Legion of Doom WWF theme song on Friday. Spoiler alert, just saying maybe. We'll keep that in mind there. Now, Matt, after we went off the air on Friday, the Johnny Manziel news broke, okay? By the way, you're listening to the Doghouse, your inside look at the Cleveland Browns, Andy McNamara alongside Matt Fleur-Jancic. So we didn't have a chance to really chat on that. Paul Kruger, if you haven't heard the story, I'm sure you have, but real quick recap. Manziel's car swerving, driving erratically on the highway, and he was having an argument with his girlfriend, Colleen Crowley, who allegedly was trying to jump out of a moving vehicle, and Johnny was trying to pull her back in because she was wasted. Johnny had a couple drinks, reportedly a few hours before, totally sober. Paul Kruger saw his car stop to check things out. Matt, this is just, even though they left together and went home, it's a bad look because it came out that Johnny did, in fact, have a couple drinks. How does this affect the locker room at all and the progress Johnny has made as a football player in the Browns locker room?
As a football player, no. As a teammate, yes. As a teammate, guys are looking at him going,
here we go.
Okay, he was supposed to be, on the straight and narrow, and now we see he's going out having a couple belts, and then he's driving home, and driving erratically because he's having an argument. Like, it's the same thing. He's Mr. Hollywood. Like, he does dumb stuff off the field that distracts from anything he can do on the field, and I think teams are going to – first of all, you can definitely say that his trade value is nothing right now.
Oh, no.
Even if you tried to send him away, you would be getting zip on your return. And that goes to Ray Farmer and Jimmy Haslam wanting the Hollywood quarterback to lead the franchise. It just doesn't work. Any good that he did in the off season and in the Tennessee game, the veterans would probably have turned on him by now. The younger kids, they still like the flash and the flare because he's the sexy pick as the quarterback because he can do things.
Right. But
his numbers are very pedestrian when he doesn't hit big plays. So I think as a teammate, he's definitely lost it. He's definitely lost his support of the locker room. And now you're hearing stories that the front office is concerned about his issues and the whole rehab thing. We don't actually know what he was in rehab for.
You're right.
So that's a different topic. You can say, well, doesn't rehab work on every issue? You would think, but if he was in an issue in for a different issue, like if it were another substance or just a lifestyle issue, we don't know that. And I think the easy assumption is, he was seen in Vegas and Austin partying up and being absolutely, drunk off his backside. And you could say, it has to be for that. But you don't know.
No,
this kid may have other issues. He may have, anger issues. He may have, other type of substance issues. Just flat do not know, so we can't make the assumption that another trip to rehab is necessary. So that we have to put out of our heads because you just flat don't know.
No.
But it's not a good look, and for a guy who says all the right things about him not wanting to be a jackass anymore and stop acting like one, it's a bad look.
Popped up, and he had been doing so well, so very unfortunate. Matt, let's quickly swing around the scores for the AFC North from the shotgun. And we begin in Pittsburgh, who somehow, like the Denver Broncos, good teams find ways to win, bad teams find ways to lose. The Pittsburgh Steelers lose Michael Vick, who's been atrocious. They get the third-string quarterback in, who balls out, and they beat the Arizona Cardinals 25-13. The Cardinals, who are legit Super Bowl contenders. unbelievable, Matt. And Ben Roethlisberger could be back as soon as next week, so the Steelers still hanging around in the AFC North conversation. Very, very disheartening. I thought for sure that they were going to dip to the Cardinals there.
Well, I did too. We both talked about that on Friday's show, that this is a game that the Cardinals could win, and they went out and they didn't look like themselves. And the Steelers played out of their minds, and I just have a feeling, you know, after watching them go 0-4 and then being in the discussion for the playoffs a couple of years ago, I have to believe that come the end of the season they're going to be hanging around for one of those wild card spots.
Oh, yeah.
They absolutely just have that kind of. They're old as you all get out. You know, they're about 1 foot in the glue factory, and they still find a way. They still find a way. They're the most annoying team because they're like a bug that you can't get rid of. You can't kill it, and you just can't exterminate it.
No.
That's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, too. The Cincinnati Bengals into Buffalo and dominate the Buffalo Bills with that stout defense. That was a possible upset game to me. The Bills fall to 3-3. Bengals remain undefeated at 6-0. Andy Dalton continues to wheel and continues to deal, spreading the ball all around. So the Bengals, Matt, I think fair to say hey, come the end of the year playoff time, there'll be lots of time to criticize and speculate. But right now, there's an argument to be made that along with the Patriots, this is the best team in the AFC.
Yeah, they're definitely in the conversation for one of those top spots, and believe me, they want to get that number 2 spot at least. Obviously, knowing number 1 will more than likely end up with the New England Patriots because it will take a stout team to beat them. It's just they look too good. But the Bengals, they're impressive. They went up against Buffalo, and I thought, okay, this defense is going to slow them down a little bit. Maybe not stop them, but slow them down, and they didn't.
No.
You know, Cincinnati did what Cincinnati does. Tip of the hat to them.
Yeah, right. They now the one positive side coming out of the AFC North was the Ratbirds. The Baltimore Ravens fall 25-20 to the San Francisco 49ers. The rematch of the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. How the mighty have fallen. So the Ravens are 1-5, meaning the Browns are still not in last place in the AFC North. So that's one plus, Matt. That's one positive, right?
It's only by a game.
That's it. It's only by a game. Come on, Matt. Come on.
They have to play another time.
Oh,
they
that's
should
so
end
true.
up being the battle for 4th place.
Come on. Don't finish last, folks. Actually, they might as well because then you get an easier schedule the next year and a better draft. Hey, you know what the worst thing could be? The Ravens have a dud year, finish in the basement, get a higher draft pick, and go out and get a stud because they still have the pieces to be dominant. That would be just our luck, too. So, oh, well.
Yeah, watch, they'll end up with Joey Bosa from Ohio State, and he'll just turn into an all-pro outside linebacker.
Same old. To
replace Terrell Suggs.
Wow. All right, real quick, let's get to the Bark-Off. And remember, hit us up on Twitter with your questions and comments on the Browns, at AndyMC81, at Matt Fleur-Jancic. The question, why is the Browns' run defense so bad? So here is the Bark-Off. I have from at Peterman75, and he says, as far as to the question, why is the Browns' run defense so bad? Because they're the Browns, and then lots of smiley laughing faces, hashtag Who Day. Turns out he's a Bengals fan. Come on, Kyle. I don't need that, Kyle. I don't need that. And then from Kelly on Twitter says, I have no idea why they are so bad. I'm just lost. And that's kind of where we're at, too.
That's exactly what the players look like on the field, too.
There's no question. Or rather, there's no answer. There's no answer as to why it is so bad. So, I feel a little bit better, Matt, getting the Therapy Monday out of the way. Hopefully you do too, Browns fans. We'll be back on Friday to tee up Week 7, Browns and the St. Louis Rams. Good stuff, Matt. We'll do it again on Friday, buddy.
Sounds good, Andy. Hopefully we'll be in a better mood by then.
Oh, let's hope so. All right, get us on Twitter, at AndyMC81. At Matt Fleur-Jancic. You've been listening to The Doghouse, your inside look at the Cleveland Browns. Enjoy the week, folks.